Hey, this is Rhonda Hamilton with Am I Mother's Keeper. Welcome, welcome, Facebook. We are live and we are here down on the beautiful waterfront at our new residences here in Southwest Washington, D.C., 800 Main Avenue Southwest. We are live today. We are welcoming the D.C. Calls It Quits coalition members. I've got sitting to the left of me Mr. Charles Debnam, and I'm going to allow him to tell you a little bit more about what it is that he does and how it is that he has come today to talk to us about smoking. To the right of me, excuse me, I'd like for you to join me in welcoming Mr. Charles Eves of the Bridging the Gap organization, and they are out of Mayfair over in Ward 7, Washington, D.C. Gentlemen, welcome, and thank you so much, so much. Well, Facebook, first and foremost, you've been hearing from me all weekend, so you know why my voice sounds like this. Those of you that have seen the video circulating, we had a wonderful time down at the Anacostia Park this past Saturday with the National African American Male Walk Wellness Initiative, and we had a ball. My voice is hoarse, but we are here today because, as you heard me mention, DCCIQ, DC Calls It Quits, kicked off their campaign to help our city stop smoking, draw awareness to the fact that there's a 1-800 number, and the fact that we have a problem. Black men, black women, black folks, folks of all colors, folks of all ages. We can't own it for any particular race, but what we do understand is that in our African American community, our ability to stay on top of our health matters, to become educated and empowered, to do the right thing sometimes is not always in place. And so this week with the DCCIQ smoking campaign and awareness is a perfect opportunity for Am I Mother's Keeper to come back out on the feed and let you guys know that our health is our wealth. You hear me say it all the time. Mental health matters, DC. You matter, DC. I want to keep you here. Those of you that were on the feed on Saturday, you heard me mention that it was September the 21st, and 17 years to the day, we lost my dear father, Mr. Ronald D. Williams, who was 51 years of age. And so I carry him with me. I carry his legacy and his memory with me. So you guys know that we're real out in these streets. We want to keep our soldiers here. We want to keep our brothers here. We want to keep our families healthy. We want our children to be whole. We want our women to be healthy. So guys, this is Am I Mother's Keepers Mental Intelligent TV. So guys, we're going to be coming to you on Mondays at between 5:30 and 6 p.m. down here on the waterfront to bring you all kinds of content and programming to help you guys become more empowered and more educated about your health choices and your health decisions. Guess what? Our city's a little divided, and my Mother's Keeper's not hearing that. DC, we've got to unite around a common cause, and I think our health is certainly something that we can come together in. As you guys have heard me say before, and I'm going to say it again, educated and raised in this city, in this wonderful city, Ward 8 to be exact. Henley Elementary School, shout out to all of my fellow Henley Elementary alumni and Miss Hunter 6th grade class students. Shout out to the Southeast Marching Hornets and Miss Day, my wonderful mentor over there. Guys, this is your girl. This is Rhonda. I'm out here in these streets because mental health matters. Our health matters. We've got to be able to keep these dialogues going so that we can save lives, guys. I thank you for tuning in. If you know someone who's having trouble with their smoking, someone that needs to be able to have a support group around them, some encouragement, get in touch with them. Tell them to tune in. This is where I want you guys to start getting comfortable coming to get this wonderful information. DC, we've got to talk about it, and we're going to talk. Those of you out there that know me from the real estate industry, as hard as I work to put you in your houses, is as hard as I'm out here fighting for mental health and for you guys to become empowered about your health decisions. We've got to do better as a race. We've got to do better as a people. We got to do better as a city and as a nation. So, guys, call somebody. Reach out to them on Facebook, DM them, let them know that Am I Mother's Keeper is going to be on for the next 30 minutes or so, and we're going to be talking to you about some wonderful information. You heard me mention that DCCIQ is kicking off their wonderful campaign of smoking and awareness. You guys have been paying attention to the headlines out there. You're hearing about the vaping, the e-cigarettes. When My Mother's Keeper heard about the statistics and the recent understanding of the folks' lives that are in jeopardy for something as silly as vaping, what I realized is that you know how we do, DC. You know we like us a fad. We like to jump on something real quick. No education, no understanding, but we all over it. What flavor tobacco do you like out there? What is that flavor tobacco doing for you and your health? You're looking cool while you're using it, but baby, how long is that going to be the case? Pay attention to the headlines, and I'm letting you know now, we don't have to know everything, but we can come together and do the research and find out for each other. Guys, we got to get back to being a village. Again, this city that I walked all over and I partied in, shout out to all my wonderful girlfriends, my ride or dies out there. Guys, we partied, where was the Coliseum, in 6? Okay, walked over to 5, might have stopped in at the Black Hole. Come on, y'all know what I'm talking about. Woke up in 7, had to walk home to 8. Partied at Cherries in 8, and then ran over to the Panorama Room. Who I'm talking about? Come on, guys, this is our city. This is our city, and all of our stories are embedded in it. Join me today and every Monday as we start to bring mental intelligent TV programming to you so that we can all grow together. That's in My Mother's Keeper's way. Mental health matters. Your health matters. You matter. Now, without any further ado, guys, I'd like for you guys to join me and take a look and listen. DCCIQ has got a wonderful message for you today. And one of the things I want to do is I want to open up and allow Mr. Debnam to help you understand, because this isn't the first year that they've run this initiative. And we want to make sure that you guys are aware of it, because the statistics out there is alarming. It's not just about the vaping, the e-cigarettes. Hey, my hookah people, yeah, I know all these wonderful establishments that opened up. I understand. Do your homework. We're just trying to keep you here, okay? All right, my soldiers? Make sure that while you're looking cool, that you're also able to be healthy, okay? Well, Charles, would you help me understand and help me introduce to our Facebook family? And again, thank you so much for taking the time out. It's been a long day and a long weekend. Tell our folks out there what the primary goal of the DCCIQ campaign is this year, and then again, as it relates to the messaging, and as you guys continue to come forward, help us to understand how it is you come together to bring that content to us year after year.
Yep, absolutely, and thanks again for inviting us. So DC Calls It Quits, this is our 4th year.
Fourth year, wow.
This is the 4th year, but it's only the 3rd year that we've actually done this.
Okay.
So we gave last year a break to kind of regroup. And you know what I mean? And come together with some different themes and stuff like that. So we are in our 4th year, and it's a summit to bring together folks, stakeholders, tobacco control advocates, public health workers, people that work in the health field, to help provide resources to DC residents and make them aware of the resources that are available to help them quit smoking.
Okay. Are you guys finding that you're getting traction with the DC residents? What are you hearing when we talk about doing forums and things like that?
So yeah, we do, and it's a week-long process. So we have over 50 different partners that you can see up on our website, and it's a multitude. Different, from different backgrounds. And so what we rely on our partners to do is to do different types of activities, whatever they're comfortable doing. It could be something as simple as setting up a table in their lobby area. It could be a town hall. It could be just handing out the quick cards that we have available. And so we encourage them to do that. And so our theme and our message has remained the same every single year.
Okay.
And that's to promote the 1-800-QUIT-NOW number. Okay. And to get folks to bring awareness to that number, and to give people that do want to quit those resources, because it's absolutely free. Okay,
and I like that you pointed out a couple of things there. The 1-800-QUIT cards, these were very popular at the display table, as Charles was mentioning at the walk this weekend. We had so many folks stop by the table, and you'd be surprised, guys, if there are family members or loved ones or co-workers, colleagues, or if you're in a relationship and you'd like for them to stop smoking, because we all care about these statistics for smoking, and we understand how hard it is. And one of the things I struggle with, I love my dear mother to death, I love my dear father to death, God bless them both. My mom having a mental health challenge since I've been a little girl, smoking has just been synonymous with her healing and with her, being able to stabilize in between the things that she's been challenged with. And so what I noticed and observed is that in our mental health community, a lot of members are
smokers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
and they smoke at very high
yes,
rates, you know?
yes.
And not just that, the way that they smoke is different. They're normally, you see a lot of people that are dealing with mental health issues are sometimes chain smokers. So they'll smoke cigarettes and they'll keep smoking and put one out and then smoke another one.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. And that's why My Mother's Keeper is so, we're jumping in everywhere. So yeah, you see us all over the place. That's on purpose because we want you guys to dial up the message about mental health. Guys, mental health is at the core of everything that we hope to do or accomplish successfully. And you talk about chain smoking. One of the reasons why I had to come off the sideline was, you see my yellow tape back here that then fell down, but I put it up there as an effect because I kept seeing story after story with the yellow tape and the sirens going, and it just kept dawning on me, who's over there helping our folk, you know? And obviously when we go through these traumatic experiences, we light up a cigarette and we start figuring it out. And so the reality that we know that these large companies are targeting our neighborhoods, targeting our families, targeting our children, because we tend to have addictive behaviors, or we tend to be folks that are going through traumatic and emotional experiences. And so we self-medicate and find other ways to be able to cope.
Absolutely.
And so that's what my concern was. And so what I wanted to do was to be able to put a face on it, since in our community, we don't like labels. You know, we don't like labels, but the reality is I'll wear that label if it's going to help keep someone here. God bless you, Ronald David Williams, 51 years old. You were an awesome man, and I wish that we could have sat down and had these kinds of conversations so that we can make different decisions. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Charles.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback on something that you just said.
Okay.
And a lot of folks, especially in the African American community, in our community, we don't know that tobacco companies, the industry, targeted us specifically, and they did that by putting menthol in cigarettes, and because they knew firsthand that if we smoked menthol cigarettes in our population, that we would become addicted. They had these conversations, and the menthol was put into cigarettes to kind of ease the feeling of going down, and we liked that. You know what I mean? And so we became addicted. You know,
and there's something in that. You know, what is it about always pacifying us? Why do we always have to feel good? Can we go through the struggle sometimes just to be able to own what it is that we come out on the other side in terms of accomplishing? It doesn't always have to feel so good. Be concerned when everything feels so good, Facebook. Guys, we're out here because we want to start this dialogue, and we've got to get away from being private and secret and all that nonsense that we've been taught to hold in and things like that. You're hurting, you're going through some things, you're not as empowered or as educated as you could be, so how could you make the better decisions? Guys, one of the things you touched on about the chain smoking, and Charles, we got to get you into this conversation. This is and I know we've got a lot to cover here, but you talked about the chain smoking, and I wanted to touch on that with the mental health community. A lot of times what concerned me was, even though my mom had access to case management, case management had their own agenda in terms of what they were showing up for, but my mom was sitting her efficiency, having been in mental health, St. Elizabeth system and House of Ruth and all of that for a 30-year swing, and then coming out and working in the government for 20 years, and still she would get home and sit in that room and smoke away, so much so that her white walls were beige. And then I'm out in the, you know, I'm living and working, and, you know, it's just the reality is that this is the reality for too many of us, and we're killing ourselves. We heard all day on Saturday that the life expectancy for black men was 67 years old. And that's awful. We heard that the Caucasian men life expectancy is something like 79 or something in that ballpark. Please forgive me if those numbers are not dead on, but you get the idea. We've got to do something better about the choices we're making. And so My Mother's Keeper understands that with behavioral health, that it's important to help teach coping mechanisms, to help folks understand new life strategies and understandings so that you guys can make healthier decisions. We care about keeping you here. It's not about labels, and even though we are a political town, mental health ain't got nothing to do with politics, okay? It's about saving lives, and DCCIQ is raising awareness this week. They kicked off yesterday on the 22nd. They're going to be going all week until the 28th. You heard about this tobacco summit that's coming up on the 26th. Guys, go to their website. It's www.dctv.org. tfc.org. Go on, check it out. I was on there and I was looking and I was so impressed with all of the folks that we were able to get around this. Everybody from Department of Health, I think I saw Children's Hospital on there.
Georgetown.
All the major hospitals were on there.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Of course we have CVS.
Yes.
They've been a pioneer in this all the while. And,
yes.
We have local groups, which is really important to get them out there. My group, Community Wellness Alliance, we have folks like Breed DC, a lot of community-based organizations and faith-based organizations too. So.
Yeah, and something, and that gives me a good segue to talk to my dear friend over here, Mr. Charles Eves. I just thought about it. The Truth Initiative is actually on board, as well as the DC Tobacco and the DC Tobacco and Free Coalition, or
the DC Tobacco Free Coalition.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure I got those acronyms together. So there are a lot of folks that are interested in this forum for smoking, but I want to understand from you, Mr. Eves, what is it that Bridging the Gap saw that made it necessary for you guys to get involved, if you would elaborate?
Well, what we saw is what we're constantly hearing is about this vaping. I'm not as well knowledgeable as it comes to the vaping and e-cigarettes. I'm learning as I've gone along, as I'm reading and talking to other folks, how serious this is. This vaping is not a joke.
No,
we're having it
not.
all over this city, all over this country. There is a myth, and I asked this question, and there's no real definitive answer. The CDC and the FDA, there is no one is less than the other, harmful. They're both are dangerous. Vaping and e-cigarettes are dangerous. And I think without further study, that is why they get away with this. The pharmaceutical companies get away with this because there is no real study to say what's the blame, what's the cause root of it. So as long as we have that in place for these pharmaceutical companies to get away with it, they're going to continue with this. And as long as our parents and children are uneducated about the seriousness of this, this is going to continue like cigarettes. When we first had cigarettes and people were smoking, now are we facing the same kind of thing? That would be my question then. Are we facing the same thing? Legalizing, because here, if you don't remember in the news media, they are talking about now making it legal in several different states at 21. Now, if it wasn't as serious, now would they make it legal into these different states? And then are we heading down the same way with cigarettes? That would be my form to the Congress and the rest of them out here. And to our family, mothers, fathers, have to be committed to this because these children are losing their lives and before they even get started.
Absolutely.
So I think
Absolutely.
One of the things I did notice, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but just recently, I think as of the 18th, DC Health did put on their website asking or encouraging folks that do use e-cigarettes or vape to quit and or to not do it. So
and
that is we have come out. Yeah, that's just as of recently, and that is a public statement. I actually brought a copy of it here. So. That's a good step.
Yes, it is. It's a great first step. But the next step is we got to get our folks paying attention because, too many times I hear the narrative, how do you keep things from, our folk, put it in a book, and we've got to change that. We've got to change that narrative, and we've got to help our folks understand that it is important to be responsible for what you're putting into your body, and it's easier said than done. I get it. We're out here trying to maintain in these awful, stressful situations. A lot of times we don't know, where we're going to get our next paycheck or when we're going to eat next, and our babies are going through and we're going through. So I get it. Stress is real, and that's why My Mother's Keepers out here, and we come out to the communities to talk to you guys about mental health because we want you to open up. And we want you to know that we're all in this together, and it's not always just about being diagnosed where you have to be careful and pay attention to your habits. You can just be your everyday regular self and just not making good choices. And when you know better, you're supposed to do better. So And My Mother's Keeper wants to throw their hat in the ring and to help you to know better so that you can do better, because you're not alone and we are all in this together. One of the things you touched on, Charles, that I wanted to circle back to was the understanding of the vaping versus the e-cigarette and the lack of the data, because it's all so new. I wonder how many of our Facebook folks out there, especially in our young population, how many of them understood that e-cigarettes and vaping was actually the same thing? Because when we started talking about it and when I came onto the coalition to agree to serve, I didn't know, and I've been learning some things along the way, and it's been alarming me. So with data that new and as hip as our folk are, Jewel is still, for example, I'm just using Jewel because they were in front of Congress testifying about this, and they still got commercials circulating. So, it's important for me to make the point that when our population doesn't see things as cut and dry as they should be, then they don't take them as seriously.
That's my
and
point.
I can parlay that over to voting. Okay, we take ourselves out of the process because we don't believe it affects us anyway. Choice we wanted to make didn't happen. We've got to get better about doing better. And I understand, sounds, easier than what it is. But guys, we are a village and we all are responsible for one another. Talk to me, gentlemen, and either one of you, I guess, can chime in on this. Well, I guess, Charles Devin, I want to point this to you. In the 4 years, or I guess you say 3 realistically, that you guys have been doing this, have you seen any changes in the habits? Do we have any success stories or any citizens that have reached out and kind of helped you to understand it as a result of?
So yes and no. So in DC, we know that the number of folks that do smoke have gone down.
Oh, great.
But we do see an incline in the wards in 5, 6, 7, and 8.
So we still in the same
So we still have a lot of work to do, yeah.
And do we know what we can attribute that to?
Low income, it could be family issues, it could be housing, it could be stress, environmental issues.
We just don't catch a break anywhere, do we?
We don't. And so it could be a number of issues.
Okay. Well, how has the DCCIQ campaign geared up for this week of awareness? In addition to the summit, in addition to calling for folks to do events, is there anything else that
we're not just around for this week.
Okay, great.
So the DC Tobacco Free Coalition is a coalition that operates on a regular basis.
Okay.
The coalition itself meets, we have like over 140 members, I believe it is now.
Okay.
And we meet quarterly, but the executive committee actually meets every month.
Okay.
So we're constantly doing work. We're talking about issues, and just recently the council introduced legislation that would ban e-cigarettes, and they're going to be voting on it. But that is, so we help with issues like that, and so we're working year round.
Okay, and that's good to know, because I know that the smoking is an issue year round. You can commit, and a lot of folks have been brave enough to be able to do it cold turkey and stick to it, and I applaud you for that. But again, coming from the mental health arena and then understanding firsthand with my family members, smoking has just always been, and then been in our life, and then you talk about secondhand smoke and things of that nature, which brings up a whole nother conversation. You touched on, I wanted to go back and talk about a few things. You touched on the 1-800 number. Can you give our Facebook family some kind of idea of what to expect when they make that call?
Absolutely. So calling the 1-800 number, first of all, it's totally free.
Okay.
It's 24 hours, so you could wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and want a cigarette. Instead, reach for the phone and call 1-800-QUIT-NOW number. So somebody will be there to answer that phone. And then you will go through an intake process, so they'll answer questions because they'll ask you questions. So they want to make sure that whatever they prescribe to you, it is right. So you'll go through an intake, and then you'll be assigned a quit coach.
Okay.
From that point on. And then after that, you have access to absolutely free 5 free counseling sessions, and then the free NRT, the nicotine replacement therapy, which are the patches and the gum.
Nice.
Absolutely free.
And all that's free.
All that's free, and it doesn't matter what insurance you have. It doesn't matter where you live in the city, as long as you're a DC resident and you want to quit smoking.
That's pretty motivating,
awesome.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Charles, bridging the gap, when you guys geared up to take this task on, did you have any understanding what you were trying to accomplish over in Mayfair in your particular community? Had you guys seen anything specifically that caused you to want to gravitate towards this cause, or was it just...
Well, I think that this, how we gravitated into it was because of my reading on these issues about vaping and e-cigarette, not having a clear understanding until you have to research things. And I think that was important. So let me clarify one thing. We don't just do events for Mayfair Mansion.
Okay.
We don't represent Mayfair Mansion.
Okay.
They have their own tenant association.
Okay.
What we do is throughout Ward 7 is bring in those initiatives for all of Ward 7. So when we make a flyer, it comes for everybody in Ward 7 to come to participate in the things that are important to them.
Okay.
So we just don't resonate just to them. They've been a great organization in Mayfair Mansion, led by Miss Massey and, as you
She's
know, and Jeff.
over there. Jeff is awesome too.
Been terrific. This was a really serious issue after we took a look at it. When we first had our town hall, kudos to you. You did a great job. Your name was all over the place, and I hate to admit it, even more than mine. You know, that you get away with that.
You know, I get passionate about it.
I know it. There you go.
You know, I'm a homegirl like that.
That's right. So we took a look at that, and we wanted to be a part of what Charles, and talking to Charles and them dialogue. You were great with us in that. So I think this was a challenge for us to talk about, to help bring this organization with us, because we want to be with those guys. I think this is what we need to do, is build these strong collaborations with each other, so that we can take on this head on.
Absolutely.
Can't just be these guys by themselves.
Absolutely.
And we were able to, on the 21st, you taking all those fantastic photos, and you had the nerve to have me in one of them. And this was what we were trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, is talk about how we come out of this vaping and e-cigarette is very dangerous no matter what you hear. Do your own research and don't listen to me. I could be telling you wrong, but I wouldn't do that. I'm just trying to share with you what we've learned about this dangerous situation that's upon us now, and before it's too late.
Yeah, and then take it a little further and talk to us about Bridging the Gap's motivation initiative to keep this message going, as you mentioned, over in 7 and then bring it to 8. You guys are in the schools with this, aren't you? Isn't something coming down the pipe?
We have an initiative we're working on for October 9th and 8th and 10th. And we want to be talking about vaping and e-cigarettes with the Chavez campus students there and their parents. So that's something that we're pushing on, that we will make sure that it's addressed in our ward, with our schools, and any way that we can help with any of those types of things. We're going to be working a hard campaign in our schools. We're going to be going from schools and say, hey, look, this is what we're trying to help to do. We will be, with the help of the DC Coalition and Miss Rhonda. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, you're
so
fine.
This is what we're trying to do to make sure that our ward is straight, our city is being brought along with us, because that's important to all of us here in this city. Our mayor, our congresswoman, our councilman, all those people who are in leadership should be with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to take a minute, and I'm going to reach out, because I know I got principals out there. I know I got teachers that love their students, because I had a favorite teacher, Miss Flowers, the librarian up at Henley Elementary. Love her. Miss Ewing, my art teacher in junior high. Love her. Mr. Googlick, my English teacher in high school. So we know you're out there, and we know you care. So I heard Mr. Charles Eves from Bridging the Gap say that they're willing to bring this coalition to the schools, because obviously it takes takes a collaboration, takes a partnership. There are power in numbers. Our babies are hurting themselves. Our babies are in trouble. And when that's the case, we should come together for the greater good. You touched on some other valid points, Charles, and thank you for mentioning that. Guys, we can all have an agenda. We can all care about a certain cause. But when we realize that we got folks that are falling through the loop and that there's wonderful, important public health information that is not being able to be accessed and utilized by the families that need them, then we got a problem. We've got a problem, and we've got to come back to the table. So if the cause is not bigger than your mission, then we got to come back and question you about what it is that you're trying to accomplish, because we got too many people that are hurting. And my Mother's Keeper went out in the community in Ward 8 to bring support groups, and we found folks sleeping in hallways and things of that nature. So this is important for us to continue to do these types of things. DCCIQ is calling attention to the hazards of smoking. There's a 1-800-QUIT-NOW number, and one of the things that we noticed with all the migration into the city, we've got a lot of our Latino population. I know you're out there. Hey, Mr. Sergio, you follow me relentlessly, and I love you for your loyalty. Let your folks know, I'm always telling you to translate. But we've got literature out here, and I was so excited and impressed when our packages came for the literature for Saturday's information table, and they had Duolingo. And so this is what it's about. It's about making sure we understand that we're all in this together, and we've got to make sure that we're having this dialogue with all folks from all walks of life. Guys, it's important to start caring about your neighbors again. We've got to get back to that. We've got to get back to helping one another. I was privy to overhear an interview that one of our local leaders did, and he was making some very valid points about some very valid things as it relates to our recent statehood plight. And we've got to be able to understand that if we can't have legislators and leaders in place to keep it real with us and put this information out there and to host these types of initiatives so that our residents and our citizens' health are able to be addressed, then we've got to go back to the drawing tables and find out who it is that we're getting elected, because this is a political town. Our health should not be politics. It should not be political. So My Mother's Keeper, Bridging the Gap, and this wonderful Mr. Charles Debnam, and is it the wellness? What is the proper, correct terminology for your organization?
It's the Community Wellness Alliance.
The Community Wellness Alliance. We are not here to because we don't care. We're here because we do care, and we've got to come together as a city so that we can save more lives. If smoking is a problem or an issue for you, then I'm going to invite you to reach out to the 1-800-QUIT-NOW number, where you're going to get a coach assigned. And if you're not that ready, or if you feel like you need some more help or someone to help you there, then reach out to My Mother's Keeper. I'll personally take on the challenge. 240-274-9436. Our women's support group meets here on the waterfront on Mondays. We meet after the podcast, typically right around 7. We get started, and then we also are going to start something for our wonderful men, because I've been checked. And I've been told that it's not always about the women, and I learned firsthand on Saturday that that's not the case. That I do know that that's not the case. So, guys, Mondays are going to be our Wellness Mondays down here on the workshop. The whole purpose is to make sure that we have a space and a place that we can come together, male or woman, and be able to talk about the things that are bothering us or troubling us, and not have to worry so much about labels. We've got to get back to talking about things and being each other's keeper. Guys, this diagram behind me, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it was very popular. She was very popular on Saturday. She's the tobacco industry's poster child, and everything from addiction up in her top of her skull, to her wrinkles in her forehead, to her cataracts in her eyes, to her mouth cancers, guys, to her skin damage, guys, to her throat cancer, guys, to her psoriasis, to her heart disease, guys, and to her lung disease, and her stomach ulcers. Has the point got home yet? Does she look that cool? You feeling that cool? Is vaping and e-cigarette and smoking and doing all these things that are harmful worth it, guys? That's all I'm asking you. We're not perfect, and yeah, we're going to have our vices, but we've got to start learning to do better so we can be better. We're not going to be young forever. God, don't I know that. And so what I want you guys to do is to take more responsibility and making smarter decisions for your health. Instead of reaching for that cigarette, I want you to reach for the phone, as Charles mentioned. Dial 1-800-QUIT-NOW or 1-800-784-8669. Guys, it's for your health. You're worth it, aren't you? Hey, Mr. Charles Eves, talk to me a little bit more about Bridging the Gap and their efforts to take this smoking, e-vaping and e-cigarette. Who else is involved with that school campaign? Anybody else you can help us understand?
We don't want to put out too much yet. We want to make sure we have everything in place and talk to the right people before we start putting names out. That's one thing we don't do until we get confirmation. But we're looking at the schools as in our ward that we're going to be talking with, and some of the other places that we can make sure we have some connections with to talk about that, because there are different cul-de-sacs of groups here. So we want to make sure we talk to them about our plan, about working with DC Quits and other groups like the Truth Initiative. These guys are fantastic over at the Truth Initiative. Talk to some great people, and we want them involved as well, because they have an organization where they have young folks and parents who have already been through this. And Charles can attest to that. He can talk further about that. But this is what we're trying to do to make sure that we're focusing on our adults as well, but the main focus is about the young folks who want a chance, and we have to give them a chance to move forward and get their lives together. Old folks who standing in the way half the time. So that's what we want to do. But I leave the rest up to Charles about those other organizations like the Truth. But we're going to be working more further with the schools, because we want to show them this is what we're doing. Here's something for you to think about, and other organizations that are out there.
Okay, and I do want to follow up with you, Charles. I was curious to understand, in packaging of the messaging, as you mentioned, the coalition is an ongoing work that you guys do throughout the year. Is there a separate messaging or packaging for the youth as opposed to our adult, or are we kind of sending that messages overall?
Yeah, so the coalition actually has been around since 2006, so it's been around for quite a while. And there used to be a youth. It was called Teens Who Don't, which was a youth group that focused on tobacco issues. They're no longer around, but we're doing what we can to kind of create another youth coalition, hopefully, in the future.
Good.
And so yes and no. The messages are still the same. Don't smoke. Quit if you do smoke. So there's the prevention side that we focus on with our youth, and then there's the care side that we focus on with people who are currently smoking.
Okay. And then, I don't know, this may be a little touchy question, but I'm just curious, because I'm sure, you do this and folks figure, oh, why didn't you say anything about the pharmaceuticals? Why didn't you say anything about the folks that are putting these things in our communities and things like that? For folks that are sitting back and are frustrated in that respect, how is there an advocacy, or is there something that they can do to affect those emotions so that they can be a part of the process about getting this away from our youth and getting these Juul devices out of the stores and things like that? How can we empower our community out there to get involved?
So that's a good question, because when we talk about pharmaceuticals, and I think we're getting confused, we're talking about the pharmaceuticals and we're talking about the industry. The industry are the folks that are actually putting these products out there. Pharmaceutical companies actually make NRT, nicotine replacement therapy. So there may be someone that creates the patch or creates the lozenge. These things are to help people who do want to quit. And so the industry is the ones, they're the ones that are creating these other e-cigarettes and devices.
And it's genius. I hate to say it. And everything's about business, and that's why we've got to be careful, because folks are just doing business. They're not necessarily doing things because they really care or have our best interest at heart. Because a pack of cigarettes, I remember going to the store for my aunt when she was, pregnant with my cousin, and I can remember cigarettes. I don't want to date myself, but I can remember. I don't remember spending more than $2 for her pack of cigarettes. Let me just say that, and that's a long time ago. No, you didn't.
Well, and I'm an ex-smoker.
Yeah.
So I quit a long time ago.
So
I quit over 20 years ago. So when I was smoking,
that's awesome.
I had $1, and I could go buy a pack of cigarettes. I could buy a donut, and I could buy a soda.
Come on now. Come on.
And have a little bit of change.
And then how much is a Juul device? When we found out the average cost of those devices were?
They're 19 and up. $19 and up.
And the
So
scary
you have to
thing,
keep 9 deposits.
yeah, and the scary thing is I heard testimonies, folks, some of they were sleeping with their devices, that they were that hooked on it and that it was that detrimental for them. And so that's just awful, and it's scary because I was privileged to watch, I think you had sent me some footage you had ran across where they were testifying and they were saying, oh, no, we didn't mean for them to be presented as devices that would help you to stop smoking. That's all I remember them being when they came out. I remember buying some for my mom because I thought I could get her off her pack in a half day, which thank God she's down to 1 cigarette every 2 days. She will not let them go all the way. But 1 cigarette every 2 days, and for me, I'm claiming a victory right now off of a pack of half sitting in the house. Yeah, that's what I baby steps, baby steps. Guys, can I just thank you? Can I just thank you both? This has just been such a wave of emotion. I tell you, God bless you, brothers. We got some wonderful brothers in our city, sister. I'm telling you. We got some wonderful folks. We got some wonderful families. We got some wonderful citizens. Guys, whatever your message, whatever your agenda is out there for our city, as long as it involves taking care of our people, making sure that they're healthy, making sure that their voices are heard, making sure that they're not sleeping in hallways, making sure that they have the support groups that they need, making sure that these agencies are providing the resources that they need, and making sure that we're providing them with alternative choices and resources so that we're not always pointing fingers. Yes, there's accountability needed, but in my opinion, and in my mother's keeper's opinion, accountability flows on both sides, and we can all be doing better. So we are committed to bringing you this type of content weekly so that we can dial up the dialogue. If there's something that you'd like for us to talk about, if there's something that you haven't heard us talk about, or if you'd like to be able to elaborate more on what you heard today, please reach out to us. MI Mother's Keeper's website is www.mimotherskeeper.com, and that's MI because in our community, M and the I is usually for mental illness, and we don't believe in that. We believe in empowerment. We believe that the I in our community is for mental intelligence, because you got to be pretty darn smart and pretty intelligent to know that you need help, to know that you need somebody for help, to know that you've got to have a certain routine or medicine, if that's your choice, or activity that's going to allow you to make different decisions in your health and in your behaviors. Guys, we're all responsible for the decisions that we make, and My Mother's Keeper is out here so that we can improve the quality of living for our families who have mental health exposures. And keep in mind, it's not always about being diagnosed. Being diagnosed is the easy part. It's the folks that have not been diagnosed. It's my folks that are sitting in silence and suffering. It's my folks that are, you don't want anybody to know because then they might know. Come on, guys. Come on now. Let's talk about it. Let's save a life. If you know somebody that's hurting that can benefit, put them in touch with us. Charles, how do folks get in touch with you if they're just curious about the work that you're doing? And please, I don't know that I've done justice to your title, because that's a pretty awesome title you got over there. So would you help us to understand your formal title, your formal agency, and how they might get in touch with you for more information?
Yeah, sure. So I'm with the Community Wellness Alliance, and I am the Deputy Chief Executive Officer there and co-founder. I can be reached either through the DC Tobacco Free Coalition's website, www.dctfc.org, or you can call me, 202-251-5102.
Awesome.
And I'm also a certified tobacco treatment specialist.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And kudos again. You can do it. You can stop smoking.
Yep.
You can do what you got to do, handle your business, and come out and talk about it and help save some lives in the process. Thank you, Charles, for what you're doing out here. Thank you. Hey, Mr. Charles Eves, tell them who you are and that you are, and tell us a little bit more about that title and what you're doing with Bridging the Gap and how we can get in touch with you and what's coming up.
Well, first of all, let me just thank both of you guys for letting me sit here and being annoying, right? Okay. You've been terrific, you guys. Bridging the Gap, what we want to do is make sure we don't come in and strong arm people, because that's not what we do. We help facilitate, bring organizations together like we've been doing for the last couple of years, and making sure that folks know that we're here providing the kind of service that we think is appropriate for us. Domestic violence, talking about those issues, talking about gun violence, the death of our youth. So we're bringing in a number of issues that folks, you want to talk about it? Come on, let's talk about it.
That's right.
We can be reached also through cell 202-527-1187, through email, which is CEAV as in Victor, ES18 @hotmail.com. we're here to help out any way that we can, working with these two folks. I feel like a giant working with them, but they're the real heroes over here. So thank you very much
awesome.
and for allowing us to be here.
Well, thank you again, Frank. Charles, I got to
Charles.
spin a
That's right.
special shout out. Frank, you made it to the table, Frank. I'm sorry about
That's
that.
right.
Charles,
Frank,
thank
hello.
you first and foremost. Appreciate you, brother. You know
All right,
I know
thank
your
you.
name. Special shout out to our coalition partner, Mr. Frank Malone with the 100 Fathers Inc. Was out there on Saturday, gave a wonderful motivational speech. He said he don't want to be long, he just want to be strong.
That's
Don't
right.
get him twisted. Hey, Frank, I hope somebody's letting you know that we sending you some love out here today. Guys, in my mother's keeper, you know who we are. I'm your girl, you know. I'm out here in these streets spreading some love, spreading some empowerment, having the conversations that we just don't want to have, but we have to have. Mental health is real in these streets. You thought you knew, but it's time to come back and sit to the table and make sure you know, because we've got to save some lives. Guys, at the core of everything that we hope to be successful, mental health is there. You're not going to escape it. It doesn't go away. You can't be quiet about it, and then it's going to, resurface in another way. Stress is real. The yellow tape keeps going up. We just lost our soldiers last night over there off of Morris Road. God bless you. I'm so sorry. I happened to come onto Facebook and saw that the mother had just come back from consoling another mother and other mothers who had lost their children and babies to this gun violence and just to violence in general, and only to come back from doing great work to find out that her own had fallen prey to it. And so now I understand that we lost one of them, and I'm not sure who we lost, but we lost somebody. And these lives are precious, and guys, we've got to pay attention. Our kids are getting so desensitized to the violence out here. We can all be better and do better. We can make decisions to stop smoking. We can make decisions to save a life. We can make decisions to decide that we just want to do something better and be better versions of ourselves. And sometimes it's hard. Some folks are strong enough to do it cold turkey, and some folks need help. And my Mother's Keepers will help you wherever you are, and will hold your hand and get you where you need to be, because all we truly care about is that you have a solid core or foundation from which you can build a quality life. And whatever that quality life is for you doesn't necessarily have to mean it's for someone else. Everybody has a different journey and a different path. It's okay if yours doesn't look like the next one. Let's get away from that and let's start worrying about ourselves and what's for us. If you're out there smoking, if you're out there vaping, and you're out there e-cigaretting, and you're out there with mental challenges, and you're out there just lost, cut it out. Reach out. You have an opportunity to. You've got folks here, guys, it's up to you. We can keep bringing you this wonderful information, but you guys have got to make a decision to do something different. And that's what My Mother's Keeper cares about. We've got to get you to make different decisions with your behavioral choices so that you can make different decisions for your life. You matter, and mental health matters. Thank you guys for paying attention. We're down here at this wonderful waterfront, 800 Main Avenue in Southwest, and we love this location. We love our new home, and we're so excited to finally bring you our Mental Intelligent TV podcasting. I want to be able to thank our wonderful videographer and our wonderful folks behind the scene who makes it happen. So humble, and you're going to be hearing more from us, guys. I thank you for your patience. We didn't get a chance to answer any questions or get you guys involved. We didn't get the watch party started, but please stay tuned with us. We're going to be bringing a lot of wonderful information down here at the waterfront. And if you didn't already know, this Saturday we're going to be partying. The DCCIQ campaign kicks off. It has kicked off already as of yesterday, the 22nd, and we will be going all week. We've got a summit on the 26th. Guys, come out and show your support. We all know somebody that needs to stop smoking. I hugged a beautiful young lady at the event on Saturday. She had another best friend that brought her to the event, and she's struggling to stop. And I told her the first step is just to acknowledge and take the hug and receive the help. People love you guys. So it's hard. It's nothing supposed to be easy. That's worthwhile. So open your mouth. Let somebody know what you're feeling, and let's do this together. The summit is on the 26th. You can go on the website at www.dctfc.org to get more information. That's the DC Tobacco Free Coalition. The wonderful waterfront insurance network is opening up here on the waterfront. And My Mother's Keeper is fortunate to be able to have some wonderful, wonderful folks in our background and in our support system. And so 1% of every insurance policy that's generated is going to come back to our organization so that we can continue to do the wonderful work that we're doing. Don't forget, just a few months ago in April, we were down at that park with Congresswoman Norton. We delivered our proclamation. We are going to be homeless no more, silent no more. We're speaking up about everything. Call us. You got something that you need to be talking about, let us know about it. Let's get it done, DC. We can do this together. Saturday, September the 28th is the last day for the DCCIQ campaign. Let's have a wonderful week of awareness. Let's be conscious of our smoking choices. Let's get on their website. Let's flood their website. Let's shut it down with stories about quitting smoking. Let's be more proactive, DC. Let's get behind the good stuff, okay? Love my go-go community. Love Chuck Brown. God bless you, brother. Rest in peace. Little Benny, I can just go on. Foots, come on now. But the reality is that as much as we care about our dancing, if we don't do something about our health, we ain't going to be able to keep going to them dances. Okay, we're not going to stay young forever, and you're not going to stay healthy if you don't do something about it. Come on down here and party with us on Saturday, September the 28th at the waterfront, 800 Main Avenue, and you have to RSVP because it is a secure building. It's from 3 to 8 p.m., free music, free food, and a great time. Come on down here with us and let's do this every Monday on the waterfront. We're going to do Monday wellness workshops. We're going to be educating. We're going to get our men down here, our women down here, pay attention to our feed, get involved. If there's something we haven't talked about, let us know about it, guys. We love you. There's a Healthy DC and Me coalition coming around. If you see us at the events and we've got surveys and we're asking you questions, it's because we're trying to find out what kind of habits you have, what do you need, what resources can we bring to the community east of the river, especially, so that we can make sure that we get our folks out of these hallways, out of despair, out of hopelessness, and back on track to having their best quality of life. All right, I'm your girl. I'm out here in these streets, and I'm going to be talking you to death every Monday, so get used to it. Let somebody know about it. Send me your comments. www.mimotherskeeper.com is the website. Advocates, the word advocate with an S, the number 4mi@gmail.com. Hello, shout out to my babies up there in Cedar Heights. Loving my family up there. And guys, MI is down here offering free insurance courses, helping you to go to Microsoft and get your resume and things done. If you're out here in these streets and you need help and you don't have a job and mental health is a challenge for you and you got a family circumstance and homelessness is a problem, trying to stop smoking and you can't, we got a hospital issue, we got grocery store shortages. Why are we so quiet? Why is there other folks representing your interests and speaking up for you? You know better than that. We were taught better than that. We are a resilient people and we can do a great thing together. Don't get stuck letting somebody else tell your story. Come bring your story to this platform and let's do this together. Let's heal together. I'm Rhonda. This is My Mother's Keeper. I want you guys to remember that DCCIQ is going on all week. Make a conscious effort to stop. Help someone else make a conscious effort to stop. We'll see you down here on the waterfront Saturday. RSVP. Let's party with your girl. And I look forward to hearing from you soon, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.
Thank you. Good night.